Are you ready?
Yes.
No, I said, are you ready?
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another edition of HCW Show Squared. This is episode 34, I believe. And we're going to be covering, as we always do, NXT. But this time it's a little bit different because we're covering not one, but two shows. We're covering, of course, the weekly NXT, as you might know. But we're also covering the latest PLE, pay-per-view, PPV, whatever you want to call it. Stand and Deliver, which is like their little WrestleMania sort of thing. Of course, they're running in the same arena that they run WrestleMania, which is just they've like adjusted it to make it smaller, whatever. But yeah, before we get into that though, let's talk about normal NXT, the weekly show, because it'd be unfair to them involved in weekly to just skip over it. Of course, this is the go home show for the 2nd of April. Gonna try and keep this short and sweet because, like last time we talked about like weekly NXT, it went about an hour, and that was just normal weekly NXT. So we kick things off with the NXT Tag Title Contendership match, which was Nathan Frazer and Axiom, the LWO, Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro, and the OC, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. Are they called the OC now, or is it called the Good Brothers?
I think the group's the OC, Gaz Anderson, the Good Brothers. I think that's what they call them anyway.
Fair enough, 'cause I wrote down both on my notes here, so... maybe there's a god. I don't believe in religion, but maybe there's a god. Because Nathan and Axiom win, following a 450 splash to Joaquin Wilde from Nathan Frazer. I rated the match 3 stars. I quite enjoyed it. The interaction between LWO and Nathan and Axiom were good. The OC were there too. They didn't really add anything to the match. This was more of a chance for the others to show why they're infinitely better than the OC. I also really was caught off guard by the result because I think I, along with many others, were so sure of the fact that the OC were winning this match to go on Stand and Deliver that I was under the impression it was going to be them who won. But apparently not. So I'm glad Nathan and Axiom are going to be getting this chance, and I wonder if they'll win because given what we're going on with the Wolf Dogs and Braun Breaker's, contract status.
This is it. I was caught off guard by the result. I obviously, I made it pretty clear who I wanted to win this one, but obviously we're going to get into some more depth in a few. But I'm not mad about how the match went down, and I was taken off guard by Axiom and Fraser winning, but. Oh, did they show up?
Oh, did they show indeed? Never slow down. Moving on from that. Il Dragunov here. He's on high alert when it comes to the family and Tony D'Angelo. He goes to leave, I guess. Well, I don't know why he was here in the first place, but he goes to leave. But his car's been clamped. Another car comes to pick him up for his dinner debonair with Tony D'Angelo. I do hope there'll be a little song, like, Ilya, you live in my shadow. But at this point, it remains to be seen. Then we move on to the next match of the night, which was Fallon Henley and JT Jane. Fallon is accompanied by Thea Hale and Kalani Jordan. Meanwhile, JC is accompanied by Jasmine Nix, Kiana James, and Izzy Dame. Jasmine's got a sling on because she was in the Kimura last week where she snapped her arm. The dynamic of that before JC, Jasmine, Kiana, Izzy, it looks quite good. Like, it looks natural, and it just feels like a good group compared to JC being with Chase U. Like, these four do look like they could be a good group. So yeah, JC wins following a pretty good looking bicycle knee after some distraction from Keanu and co. I rated the match 1.5 stars. It was mainly a nothing match. It served as filler to move towards and build the women's 6-woman tag. Well, sorry, at the time we don't know it's a 6-woman tag. Yeah, so just build towards that really. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they had to have something like this on the go home, and yeah, it did what it needed to do, and not enough time to make it feel like a big thing, but yeah, I thought they did well with what they had.
Yeah, absolutely fair. After the match, Jessica has a promo backstage with her crew in front of Ava, who's sitting by a gorilla, about how the spotlight is back on her. Ava then shoots her along because it's live TV. As that happens, Lexus King goes to gorilla for his match, but then as he walks through, the outcome via Kalani and Fallon, who complain to Ava, who then makes the 6-person tag official for Stand and Deliver. And then this was all in one take as well. So, you know, I'm really liking this post Kevin Dunn era production.
Oh, loving it.
Mm-hmm. It feels more fluid. You know,
Yeah.
there's no like cameras like
No motion sickness.
exactly no like jerking your neck back to sort of. Speaking of though, it's Lexus King and Von Wagner now. Lexus wins with the coronation. I rated it 1 star. It was horrible to watch. This is a bit of a rant. I don't get what the WWE see in either of these guys or why they've stuck them together in this pointless feud. Lexus is still stuck in developmental limbo, which his character is basically non-existent, and Von Wagner still is as bland as he was when he first started in NXT. There was a simple way to get Von more over and liked, or not liked, but like respected or whatever, and that was just not to be cringe. You know, let Stone do the talking, be a heel character, which is what he was for the first few times. And then WWE proceeded to just do the opposite of that. It was like, oh look, he's like, I mean, obviously it sucks that he had that thing as a kid, like the brain trauma or whatever it was, but that's not a story. That like that's something that happened genuinely, but you're not using that to actually progress your character. You're just using it for sympathy because you know he's not over.
Yeah.
As for Lexus, he's got the look. I'll give him that much. He's a good look for the 1980s. He needs to lose that fucking chair in his entrance because it's so goofy. He just slides in like, whoa. It's goofy. I think it makes it harder to take your audience to take you seriously. What do you think? Is we rated 5 stars?
Zero chemistry in this feud. Right. It's just. It's almost like they're cancelling each other out with this BS 50-50 booking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't get. I don't. I'm not a fan of Lexus King, and Von Wagner's just been there. Like, it's never really been someone I've properly been able to get invested in. It wasn't the best, and maybe it's time to just fade this feud out a little bit and see if they can do something else, because it's not a constant on TV, so you forget about it.
Yeah, precisely. Like, in it, I still don't really get what his character is, Lexus, because he's a creep most of the time.
Yeah,
I don't
I don't
know.
get it either.
I'm still waiting for someone to point out the fact that Mr. Stone's kids look like Von Wagner. Like, I
uh,
want where's that storyline that is Von Wagner's kids, not Mr. Stone's. Like,
oh yeah.
anyway, we move on to Lola Vice and Carmen Petrovic. Carmen is accompanied by Natalia. Lola wins with a sharpshooter submission. I rated 1 1/4. It was just a short match. Felt a lot like filler. Again, had no real consequences. I found myself not really caring and also not really understanding Natalia's role in this, other than she's just, I guess, a role model or a mentor or something like that for Carmen. But like, why? Like, Natalia's not spoke much at all on this. She just fought Lola last week, and it was like, oh, okay, you're here now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, it just was a thing that happened. Like,
yeah.
no real impact in anything currently going on. Uh, I, yeah, it just wasn't. But yeah, it was just there. Like, um, hopefully they do more with. I didn't talk about last week more with Natalia, but
hmm
yeah, like, cool. You
Yeah,
did the thing.
there's really not much more you can say. Um, Ilya Dragunov is taken to some kind of warehouse where he walks past several men in suits doing various jobs. Like, they're doing wood cutting and DIY and stuff while in their full fucking suits. Very impractical things to wear. Before eventually coming to a randomly set up like table, like a restaurant table in the middle of a dark and dingy warehouse. The table's got a red cloth on it, so obviously it's very sexy. Um, Obviously here comes the song and dance thing. Here come Tony D'Angelo and the family. They greet Ilya and then they just talk for a bit to set up the match, and then they sing a song. Um, they do a little dance and then they do a whole musical number, and that was it.
Yeah, cool
I
segment.
Yeah, I will say, like, I'm a thorough lover of the Chris Jericho MGF segment in the AW. I thoroughly love that.
Uh, Never saw it. I've seen it, but never watched it live. Have never watched AEW, so yeah.
Fair enough. Um, Moving on, though, we have a Supernova Sessions with Metaphor featuring Roxanne Perez and Lyra Valkyria. Some decent build between Roxanne and Lyra for their match. Metaphor ad-lib perfectly because they're just brilliant. Lyra mentions the ladder match, the indie one, which you mentioned last week, about how Roxanne, didn't get cheated out of it. She just lost the match for. So yeah, claims that Roxanne whines and bitches all the time. Roxanne's only focused on winning the title and hurting Lyra. Honestly, like, there's not much more I can say. That would be just me not covering the entire thing. So just go watch
Yeah.
it. It's probably on YouTube somewhere, or watch NXT if you've got cable, or the network, or Peacock, I guess.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah, a classic champion challenger exchange. The on the go home show. Very classic,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
good. A good classic.
hmm Speaking of 5-star classic, we have now the next match of the night, which is Owen Fleming and Joe Gacy. Gacy gets attacked by Sean Spears with a chair before the match. And Owen wins by referee decision in like 3 minutes. I rated it 0.5 star. This was a squash match. Gacy got practically no offense in, and if he did, it was no sold. Basically pointless to have this in the show. I guess it's a tune-up for Femi because Gacy tried to murder him with a chair accidentally. Um, Can you put any sense into this match happening other than that?
No, honestly, again, it seems to be a quite a common theme on this show. It happened.
Yeah,
that's all I can say.
fair enough. We're coming towards the end now. Don't worry. We got to the match of the night. We have Ariana Grace taking on Ren Sinclair, who, for those who aren't aware, that is Maddie Renkowski. This match came about because Ren Sinclair had an incident backstage with her where she was rude, and then Ariana Grace took offense to it. So now we're here. Ariana wins via roll up while holding the ropes in the corner. I rate it 1 star. I guess it was alright. It was just a short match, no real meaning again, and no progression in the Ariana Gigi stuff. So, like, she mentions Georgina and stuff, like she's picking out a dress earlier, but like, other than that, it's not anything particular. So I still don't know what to do with that, but maybe because we're on the like WrestleMania path, they're not really focusing on it too much.
Yeah, but come on, at least do a little bit. Like, I need to see this. What's happened? I need to see this. I need more vignettes. I need something.
Mm-hmm. Like,
Can't just be.
I think we've only seen Gigi like once interact with Ariana since losing.
Yeah.
And that was like just saying like she was like protesting about it, but
yeah. I need to see what's happened.
Yeah. So we were deliberating last week about this, about what the main event would be for Stand and Deliver. Like, should it be the world title? Should it be Carmelo Trick? Should it be something else? It's revealed by Vic Joseph as he's going through the stuff like for the PLE that Carmelo and Trick are main eventing, which is not surprising, but also kind of surprising. But what does that mean for the world title?
Have to wait and see.
Because I mean, I put out a theory last week about the world title match, and if they're not main eventing, that probably throws my theory into nothing. Yeah, speaking of world title, we're back to the vignette. It's dinner. There's no singing and dancing, I'm afraid. No singing, no show tunes, which is a shame. It's just hype for the world title match. Again, go watch it if you want to see what was said. It was given a dinner tray with one of the covers on it, the metal cylinder thing. I don't remember what they're called, but we never find out what was there because it just like cuts away. So why leave them that? I assume it's just food. But yeah, that was the world title vignette.
I do like the family stuff where they're doing family things. I do like that stuff. It's they seem to they get it right from my liking. They get it right anyway.
Yeah. Have you seen the Godfather?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you remember the scene where Sonny sent a fish? Because it's a symbol that Luca Brasi sees to see where the fish is.
Yeah.
That's what I was hoping that was under the food tray, like a dead fish.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like that.
It's just very, like Godfather, family, mafia, sort of. But yeah, so yeah, that happened. Your main event of the night was Sol Ruka and Blair Davenport, also known as B. Priestley. Sol Ruka wins via a roll-up from a countered Kamigoye knee. I rated this 3 3/4 stars. Honestly, match of the night. I really like this. It got decent time too, which is rare for women in NXT. Blair did a great job, as usual, and Sol was showcased spectacularly, and it was great to see that her injury isn't slowing her down. Because like she has like that massive like knee brace on, but she's not. Like she's doing a few risky moves here and there, landing on the leg as well, which made me wince a little bit because I thought, "Oh shit, what if that buckles?" Like, but thankfully nothing happened. She seemed fine. So yeah, it's great to see Sol back properly. She's clearly improved on what she was before because last year I remember her being quite slow. She's definitely improved and gotten faster and more fluid. So going forward, we're going to see what she can do. But also keeping Blair strong because she didn't lose by the fucking Soul Snatcher, which is a cool looking move, but just ridiculous style.
They did very, very well. Like, I'm admittedly not all that invested in this feud when it first started, but if picking up right where it left off, and it hasn't hurt it that as much as I thought it was going to, the big storm momentum. But I thought it was very good, and not a fan of the roll-up finish, just in general, but I thought, okay, let's see where this, if it's done, or whether they do pick it up a bit more, because like I'm intrigued now.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it serves as a good like sort of B feud or C feud within the women's division.
Yeah,
and also we'll get to something that happens during the PLE as well that might be relevant to all this sub stories and stuff.
Just a little bit.
I can't wait to talk about that. So we went to the main event segment now, which was the Carmelo and Trick face-off. Great segment, but in the interest of time and like not spending too much time talking about it, they exchanged barbs basically, and just a great way to end the show. It was honestly, go check it out. I'd go into more detail, but the PLE is still coming, so I don't want to spend too much time talking about this. The show takes a bit of a backseat to build the feuds and stuff. We found out who the tag title wrestler is going to be, at least. That's something. And we got a good main event out of it with Sol Ruka and Blair Davenport. So yeah, so what were your thoughts on this weekly go-home show?
A bit hit and miss. The things that landed really landed, but the things that missed badly.
Yeah, I think that's quite common with NXT weeklies, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you've got a lot of matches that just sort of have no sense being there, or like little to no build before.
Yeah.
And then you've got this random great match that happens in the main event or the opener, which sort of makes you forget about it until you look back on your notes and it's like, oh, actually, no, that did happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I don't know. NXT is a weird place. It's developmental. I always say it's not a third brand. It's a developmental. So I can forgive them having bad things on it because they are still learning and they're still getting their characters and working on their promos, etc. So
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, mainly terms of build for the PLA. So which is really how it always was. And unless you've got any other comments about NXT, we can move on to the PLE.
Not really, other than it's, like I said, it's developmental, but like it's as I said, it's hit and miss. But for the go home show, I thought they could have done a bit more, could have landed a few more hits, but
yeah,
I digress.
You digress. Good old Mr. Impact Jones here.
Hey you. Yeah, you. Do you like this video? There is a button. It's a very sexy button. It says subscribe on it. I wish I could click on it, but YouTube won't let me. Damn fuckers.
So now we're talking about NXT PLE pay-per-view PPV, NXT Stand and Deliver, which is like a mini WrestleMania, for the 7th of April. That's today. The 6th of April. Did you watch the kickoff show?
I did.
Sweet. So, shout out to Ariana Grace for the first section of the kickoff show because she made it more enjoyable than it had to be. Because you had Megan Moran and you had Sam Roberts, and that's very basic and very Oh, very drony, like, hey, we're going to be doing this and doing that. Look at that match there. Look, I'll play that package. But then you got that. So, like, oh, we're looking forward to the Lyra and Roxanne match. Ariana, what did you think? And I was like, well, I remember when Roxanne hit me in the face in the locker room.
She smashed it. Like, I'll keep saying it. She really has got her dad's sense of humor, and I'm here for every little bit of it.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I think it's quite rare. Like, with press-related stuff, they always, like, don't talk about themselves. It's always sort of like, oh, I think X is going to do that, and Y is going to do that. But she's, like, referring everything to herself, which is just perfect. Like,
yeah. And Josh Briggs has great manners.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, he held the door open for ladies, which is something you don't see that often.
Completely smashed it.
Mm-hmm. And then for the second half, we had Josh Briggs. For the second half, we had Ridge Holland. Sorry. Ridge Holland, who he's hanging around, I guess. He's just talking about matches in general. So good for him. He thanks Ava for the chance to be here, and that's about it. And then we have the kickoff show singles match. Shawn Spears against Joe Gacy. The match came about because Gacy requested the match from Ava. In a weird camera shot where he just sort of crawls onto her desk. He's like, Ava, I want Shawn Spears. Give me Shawn Spears. And she's like, are you sure? And he's like, yes. And she's like, okay, kickoff show. You and Shawn Spears. So during Gacy's entrance, Ridge Holland attacks him with a chair. A single chair shot, I should say. That's it, just one single chair shot. And okay. I'm not sure to think about that.
Yeah, it was just one of those things. Like, it's interesting because of where they may potentially go, and obviously Ridge doing what Ridge stepping away and all that. It intrigued me, and I was honestly a bit surprised, which doesn't happen much in wrestling.
Exactly. Yeah, I didn't. I think it's because we're so like uninvolved with Ridge Holland, like we're so like just tuned out to him that when it happened, it just sort of caught you off guard. It's like what? Oh. I think it's sort of equivalent to like if like I don't know, like if Michael Cole attacked someone like with a chair, like.
Honestly, I'd be less surprised by that.
Bring back 2011 Michael Cole. That was the perfect Michael Cole.
My name is Cole. That's my name.
Just a bias everywhere. But yeah, the match itself, Joe Gacy still wins with the handspring lariat. I rated 2 and 3/4 stars. It was alright. It was nothing spectacular. It was decent. I thought the red chair shot would play more into the match than it did, because Joe sold it a few times, but ultimately it didn't do enough damage to actually do much. And Gacy still won the match clean. I'm not sure what to do with Spears, but it seems that his stuff with Ridge has got through to him.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see on the weeklies if that's any development.
Guess so. But I mean, the kickoff match was a very good match for a kickoff show.
Yeah, exactly.
I say on my show all the time. The kickoff show serves a purpose of people who aren't sure about watching it. Like, the kickoff show is there for people who aren't sure to help them just make up the mind if they want to tune in or not. I think that match may have helped people decide one way or the other, which is the whole point of the kickoff show. So I thought it's very good for a kickoff show matches can be very important, and this one didn't disappoint. Very, very good match.
Yeah, absolutely fair enough. So yeah, we'll go into the main show itself now. We kick off with Metaphor They're the hosts of the show. There's a montage of them in various settings. They're like in the family restaurant, enjoying the food to hype the Ilya Tony match. Then suddenly they're in the Chase U classroom with Flash Legend as the teacher. The setup is the 6-woman tag. Then we're in the back of an ambulance to emulate Live Valkyria and Roxanne Perez. And then they all dress in black and they imitate the Matrix to be like Dijak for his match coming up as well. It was very good. And then finally, in the place that I think we all knew they were going to be, like, for the main event, the barbershop. Which, again, just perfect.
So good. It was a very unique cold open, and they were perfection the entire way through.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. We then go to the NXT Tag Team titles, which is the opener. Then Fraser and Axiom take on the Wolf Dogs, Baron Corbin and Bron Breakker, the champions. The Wolf Dogs retain, following an amazing tilt-a-whirl counter end of days to Axiom and a spear to Nathan Fraser. I rated it 3.5 stars. It was a great match to open things up. The sheer contrast of both team styles was showcased really well here. And while I'm not sure the right team won, I do wonder what the plan is going forward, because Bron may or may not be heading to SmackDown full time. Either way, Nathan and Axiom have proven that they can have what it takes to put on a tag title caliber kind of match, and I can't wait when they actually do win the titles. Great stuff. I look forward to seeing what they do, the Wolf Dogs, but I'm also slightly afraid now because it could be a weekly NXT they just lose titles.
Yeah, that would be a shame. But as far as that match goes, mate, I've obviously, no secret, I was hoping for the Good Brothers in that one, but with the Good Brothers involved, it wouldn't have been as good. I can fully admit that it would not have been as good. I love the Spanish Fly, like that move. I've seen it the first time I saw it in person. Like, it's just something about the simplicity, but I can't explain how much I love the Spanish Fly, and the fact I got to see it twice, and Axiom hit it on Baron Corbin, like.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then just everything about that match, from the 450 and like a really, really good tag team match. And I was surprised the Wolf Dogs retained, but when I saw it was Fraser and Axiom, I thought they were going to retain.
Yeah. So following on from that match, Metaphor are backstage. They're doing their thing. They're outside of Owen Family's locker room. They're getting ready to interview, because that's to keep up being a host, you've got to do your interviews. Of course, they all nominate Oro Mensah to do it. Or say, well, Noam does mainly. But then the others sort of latch on Chikara and Lash saying, yeah, Oro, yeah. So Oro's getting ready to interview Owen Family, which he does. He does the setup for it quite well. He looks at the camera, he's like, hello, I'm Oro, and I'm going to be interviewing Owen Family. We're in the locker room right now. And then as he says that, the door just gets barged over by Owen Family, just knocking Oro over.
They did such a great job.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and they obviously got the Metaphor backing away as he walks past, and Noam just says, "Yeah, walk away." Then we get a bit of a cringe moment with commentary. Vic Joseph's like, "You guys will back me up there, but you know who would? My main guy Knuckles." And you look behind him, there's a fucking like Knuckles mascot. Like, it's like, yeah, fist bump. Yeah.
Obviously, I know they must be getting quite a bit of money for that, but like the fact they had no LED screens, so they had to put like the banners over the barriers and on the mats down, like it just
yeah, it's not good. Look, and we'll see more of that later. So yeah, now it's time for the Knuckles sponsored match of the night. For the WWE North American Championship. Dijak, Josh Briggs, and champion Oba Femi. Of course, Femi wins and retains, following a powerbomb onto Dijak on top of Briggs, then pinning Briggs. I rated it 4.25 stars. This was so much better than I originally thought it was going to be. Like, I knew it'd be good, but this was amazing. So many near finishes, moments that I literally bit because I thought it was going to be over at that point. Like, you got fucking Dijak knocking out, like, feast your eyes to everyone. Yeah, he takes out Oba, takes out Briggs, pins Briggs. Like, Briggs puts his foot on the rope. Sorry, the other way around. Sorry, Dijak puts his foot on the rope after Briggs hits a finisher.
Yeah.
And at the time I was thinking, that's not a rope break. Like, it's your threat, no? So it's no DQ, no rope break.
That should be, but a couple of times that's happened in WWE where it's been a triple threat, but someone's used the rope to break a submission or whatever. Like, but it's just a thing that is never really talked about, but it's a bit weird.
Yeah. But anyway,
very weird.
I was on Dijak's side so much this match. Like, I thought this was Dijak's match to lose. That I completely overlooked Briggs and Overfemi in doing that. This was a great match. I have next to no complaints about it. I wish it was a bit longer, but that's just because I really like the match. But really, there's no quarrel with this match. It's just not a 5-star for me because it's not my style. But Big Hoss is not typically my style of match that I prefer, and I really like this. So,
yeah, I mean, when this match was announced, I completely hold my hands up and say, and now I can say that I just ignore me because I knew fuck all about it. But I said just hit each other. Just don't do any flips or big jumps or whatever. Just hit each other. But we had a Canadian Destroyer. I had Dijak jumping over the top rope, but also they did hit each other. I mean, that spot of Dijak on Oba's shoulders and Briggs on Dijak's shoulders and Oba carrying to the center of the ring, like what? It takes a lot in wrestling for me to get out of my seat and what did we just see type of thing. And that was one of those moments. Like, it kind of reminded me of, but it was, I think, actually slightly better, of the IC triple threat from last year WrestleMania with Gunther, Drew, and Sheamus. But I think this one was slightly better. They did more, and the near finishes they got me a few times. Like, when Oba was put through the barrier and was up in what 20-30 seconds, and I keep going back and forth. And for me, I don't know what the comments are going to be like after this, but match of the night.
Honestly, I agree.
Yeah.
Like I said, 4.25.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure that's my highest rated match.
Yeah.
Out of this world. Dijak is something else entirely. Like, he's amazing at this level. Like, I don't know how he'd be on main roster, because obviously main roster is a bit different from how NXT is. But Dijak and Gunther, Drew, Sheamus, those big guys,
I feel like I should go full Shaq and say, I apologize, I wasn't familiar with your game. Yes.
Yeah, it's really good. Like I said, Josh Briggs is a sleeper for me. But he showed out here. Femi, I wasn't really sold on, but the entrance as well for him, like, great, so good. Like, you got like all the smoke and steam coming out, like just the silhouette of him, like just standing there, like as the music plays. It's such a good a good aesthetic.
Yeah. Aura is the buzzword at the minute, and
yes,
that's an aura.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, do. Oh. Oh.
Alright. Alright.
But yeah, so go on.
It just blew me away, and like a strong contender for match of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we're only in April, so
yeah,
who knows? So yeah, Metaphor tried to get another interview because the last one went awry. So this time, Noah's going to try interviewing Thea Hale, Connie Jordan, and Fallon Henley. And Chase U, Duke, and Andre say it's not a good idea. They're in the zone. Don't interrupt them and stuff. And he's like, it's fine. And he proceeds to ask Thea Hale, probably the most intense person of that group, Thea, did you really think JC was your friend? To which Thea responds by putting him in an arm wrench.
Oh. Just great stuff.
It's really
great stuff.
The gimmick of the interviewer who asks the wrong questions isn't done enough.
Yeah. They all smashed in. I think they're all in their pajamas at that point.
Yeah.
Which has made it even better.
So yeah, we saw them three. So it's time now for the 6-person tag match. Jessie Jane, Kiana James, and Izzy Dame with Jasmine Nix taking on Thea Hale, Connie Jordan, and Fallon Henley with Chase U, Andre Chase, Duke Hudson, and Riley Osborne. There we go. I can't remember his name for a second. I said it during the weekly show review. I really like how these four look. JC, Kiana, Izzy, and Jasmine.
Yeah.
They got because I think the word earlier, aura. Like they've got a certain mean girl energy about them. Like it really suits them all.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's they seem to fit each other quite well in how they act and the way they present themselves.
Yeah,
I liked how the entrance felt when they all walked down together.
Yeah, because it always felt like, I don't know, JC was missing something since Trisha broke up.
Yeah.
And this, it might be it.
They might find it.
It's definitely better than her being with Chase U. Because it's very out of character for her. But yeah, Team Thea win with Thea hitting a Kimura lock on Izzy for the submission victory from a standing position. So it's she literally bear hugs her and then wraps her arm around for the Kimura. And Izzy taps out. I rated it 2.5 stars. I just want to make it clear, it wasn't a bad match by any stretch. It just wasn't stand up for me. I do think there should have been one-on-one with Thea and JC. However, I can't speak for how good that match would have been. I approve of the choice to make it multi-person because then you get more people on the show just to show themselves off. It was a good mixture of the more experienced people within NXT like Kiana, Fallon, JC, and those who aren't so experienced in NXT like Thea Hale, Connie Jordan, Izzy Dame. So I will say as well that the standouts in the match were Kiana and Fallon for me, who very clearly, in my thought, they were the ones who stood out more, who knew what they were doing. JC always feels a bit lost, and Izzy seemed to struggle a little bit. And same with Thea a little bit. But again, they're newer. JC ain't got an excuse for, but Thea and Izzy, it's fair enough. And they're there with more experienced guys, so they know what they're doing. Honestly, though, wasn't bad at all. They all got their shots in. And the overarching story of Thea and JC was clear to see. Also, a nice touch that Thea was the one to get the win. rather interestingly, before I get into your thoughts, I know as they were celebrating, Fallon wasn't celebrating. She seemed very pensive.
Yeah. Yeah, the little side eye. Yeah.
Yeah,
Same
like she,
thing.
like maybe she regretted being part of this team, or like why am I here, sort of thing, or
Yeah. I can't remember. I can't recall much like a reason for it to happen during the match. Like there wasn't a reason for fans to be pissed off. I don't think during the match.
no.
Maybe I missed something, but no. The match was really really good. I can't fault it for what they were doing with it. The yeah, the, I agree. It was the right call to make it a six person tag, and yeah, they've. I agree. I think they might have found something for JC to although they lost, so I don't know if they're gonna like be able to stay as they were. But I did. I was a bit confused as to why it wasn't JC who was beaten. But if they're carrying it on and are going to the singles route, then fine. But by the way the match ended with celebrations and Fallon, it looks like it's over. But yeah, I thought they did a really good job, and Kalani Jordan looked great, and that group of women in this match, I can't see a reason why they all won't end up as at least contenders to the NXT Women's Championship.
Yeah, exactly, and I think it's more as well like Fallon, as I said, like sort of question why she was there. Maybe she has regrets about helping out Thea in the first place, because now she's sort of stuck in this trio with Kalani and Thea, which really she could be looking at Roxanne or looking at Lyra or looking, with like bigger profile names like Natalia, who's there now.
Or like, the announcement we'll get to in a second.
Yeah, we will. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was just not stand up for me, and I will say now that is my lowest rated match. So if 2.5 is your low point, you've done pretty well.
Yeah. They did really good.
Yes. And so I don't know if the next bit that was on screen was related to the hype build package they were doing for Rhea and Becky for Mania. But a black screen appeared with the following words: "I assess the power of a will by how much resistance, pain, torture it endures, and knows how to turn to its advantage." Which is by it's a quote by Friedrich Nietzsche, which is a German philosopher. So maybe those quotes from before, from I think it was, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but those quotes before in NXT from that Chinese philosopher, maybe they weren't Sean Spears.
Be interesting. No, I didn't see that during the hype package for Mania last night.
Oh, fair enough. It was after the 6-woman tag, and then before Ava's announcement.
No, I caught it. I don't recall it being linked to the Becky Rhea match. So it's been interesting if it is something other than I don't know. Maybe it is.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just because I remember before Sean Spears debuted with NXT, it was like they were doing like these philosophy quotes and stuff, and that was Sean Spears who came out after. But maybe that was just timing and coincidence, rather than who actually putting the quotes out.
Yeah, it's be interesting if it is, because like I said, I didn't see it during the WrestleMania match.
Yeah, and we'll get to who that might be as well in a minute. But first, we go to Ava. She's backstage, of course, in the little gorilla position or whatever it is, who announces that the women of NXT are the backbone, of the division. And so, with that in mind, she's happy to announce that soon launching will be a women's NXT North American Championship. A mid-card title for the women's division in NXT, which I would say is probably needed just due to the amount of women in that division and the amount of stories that have gone by without anything on the line. I think adding a title will do great for them because it gives them to fight for. So I just don't want to see them do a tournament because that's always the go-to for wrestling companies.
Yeah.
Hey, look at this new title. Oh, look, 8-person tournament. It's like I'm trying. I'm probably like picking out specifically AEW with that because they do that a lot with new titles. But there's ways around it. Like you've got like stars who are building. You've got like stories, overarching stories as well. Like I think there's more. I think you can do a basic match for this, like a 4-person thing, or fatal 4-way, or a triple threat, or a 6-match challenge, or something like that. You ain't got to do a tournament, but it'll be interesting to see who the first champion is.
Yeah, and when it's announced, first of all, great idea. Like if they can book this, how they can book this, it should help a lot of people who aren't quite ready for the big title, but can take this and essentially make it a workhorse title for the women's division.
Yeah.
So I'm all for it, and my first thought was Fallon Henley. I thought she'd make a good champion for this.
Yeah.
But then, but I agree, a tournament isn't always necessary. You know, if it's like contender matches where it's like four contender matches and there's 4 winners go to face for the title, that works just as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know why in wrestling a women's title has to be white. I don't get it. Like, almost every company, like, apart from I believe AEW, but majority of the women's titles have white straps. I don't get why
it differentiates from the men. I don't know.
Even every WWE women's title has a white strap. The Knockouts title has a white strap. It's just one of the things I picked up on, and it's like it's always white for some reason. But yeah.
I mean, obviously you've got like white straps, you've got red straps, like you've even got like green straps in certain places. So yeah, but speaking of white straps and red straps, someone who is very familiar to holding white straps and red straps within wrestling companies. Hello, Julia.
Mate, wow.
It's a great signing.
That's a big get for NXT. She was involved in one of my favourite matches of last year, and it was New Japan versus Impact TNA at the time. Julia, Deonna Purrazzo, Giselle Shaw, and I forget the 4th competitor, but for the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. Incredible match, and I can't wait to see what she does in NXT with Roxanne, especially given where she debuted, or how she debuted.
Yeah, exactly. Like showing her off directly between both women's matches. Like, obviously, gonna be a key player in the world title scene or the North American title scene or whatever. Saying that, there's a lot of matches that she can have. That will be amazing. Julia is one of those like once in a lifetime talents. Which is rare to say because the Joshi scene has a lot of good wrestlers, but Julia's stand out among them. But yeah, she's in NXT now, or potentially in NXT. I mean, they've done the whole look who's here thing.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much confirmation that she's going to be there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What to get?
I mean, like obviously we look at like previous Joshi people who've come through. You got Asuka, Kairi Sane, Io Shirai, or Io Sky now. And of course you got Saray, who wasn't not a big one for them, but her character wasn't that good, and then she left. So hopefully she's more like the first three, not like Saray. But...
yeah, it's a big get for NXT.
Absolutely. But speaking of NXT, it's time for the Fallout sponsored match. The Women's Championship now. Roxanne Perez and Lyra Valkyria defends. Ultimately, Roxanne wins and becomes the new NXT Women's Champion, following a Pop Rocks and a crossface submission. I rated this 4 stars. Another great title match here. Roxanne finally gets her vindication and gets what is, rightfully hers, to quote her. Mm. Great technical match. Roxanne focused heavily on Lyra's arm. The action was smooth, flowed very nicely. The only question I had on this match was the involvement of Tatum Paxley, who appeared to sort of did nothing. I don't fully get it, but I'm glad she wasn't involved in the end of the match, because Roxanne needed a clean win here. Or saying that, Lyra winning via interference would have also been good. Like, thanks to Tatum getting involved and then costing Roxanne that way. But ultimately, if Roxanne was going to win this, she needed to win it clean. She needed the clean win. And she got that. And she got a submission win too, which is not something I saw coming. Making Lyra tap out, it was a great moment for her. And I can't remember on the camera, everything was really good about it. Like the whole struggling, get to the ropes, kick away from the ropes to more central pace, then wrenching back on the body to get the submission. It was really good.
Yeah,
I really liked it.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. It was a very, very, very good women's title match. I haven't always been the biggest fan of Lyra Valkyria matches. This one was really good. I mean, I like the attention to the arm, and the combination to finish it off as well was it just worked really well. I agree with the Tatum Paxley thing is kind of pointless. I mean, she popped up and was pushed into had Lyra pushed into her, and that was it. Just walked away. It didn't really have any impact on the match, and it just seemed to be there. But yeah, it was a quality women's title match, and I'm intrigued to see what happens next with Roxanne and who's up next to challenge her. Whether it is Julia or whether it's, I don't know, but maybe Lyra. Obviously, Lyra will want her rematch at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm go with Roxanne winning. I liked it.
Yeah, I think I said it last week as well. It's just like the better choice. Roxanne could probably do more. If Lyra's genuinely injured as well, you can give her time to get her checked out and recovered and stuff. But yeah, Roxanne, you ain't got to turn on the green light. You make it all the way to moving on now, of course, we go on now. We see less of metaphor at this point. It's become more just a match now sort of deal. So we move on now to the NXT Championship. So this is the world title. Tony D'Angelo with the family taking on the champion Ilya Dragunov. And to maybe no one's surprise, I don't know. I think you put it the other way for this. Ilya wins and retains with the Super H-Bomb, which is like the second rope forearm smash thing.
Yeah.
I rated it 3 3/4 stars. I don't know. Can Ilya have a bad match? Is that something that can happen?
I've never seen it.
I wasn't expecting this a good match from these two personally, but I was very surprised by it. If this had been the main event of the show, I wouldn't have been disappointed either. Like, this was a good main event level match. Tony stood his ground, which it was a fair back and forth between the two of them. Tony proved he could hang with Azar, and mutual respect was shown after the match. people complain that Tony didn't want to be a heel here, but that's irrelevant, really, because the family aren't heels. Like, they weren't heels before, they're not heels now. Like, they're just a family who use mind games. That's all they do. Like, how's it heelish to take someone to dinner?
Yeah, exactly. It's just an intimidation tactic which they used almost throughout this entire feud of Ilya.
Yeah, exactly. And also, it's as Tony said before, like, it's not personal, it's just business.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a target on Ilya. He's got a title that Ilya happens to have. Like, if it weren't Ilya, it'd be someone else.
Yeah, it just... Tony wants the title match. It didn't matter who against. He just wanted the title match. And, yeah, I did predict Tony D to win it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I had this feeling, and it was only about 5 minutes into the match where I realised that's not happening.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bad judgment call on my part on that one.
I think if it was main event, there's more potential for it to change hands.
Yeah.
But also, like I said last week as well, like I was fully expecting Damian Priest cash in on the main event on Ilya, which never happened. So
no, but the match was really good.
Yeah.
The H-bomb off the barrier through the announce table.
Yep. Great.
The storytelling of Tony not wanting to cheat, wanting to do it the right way.
Mm.
And I didn't realize people were complaining about him not being a heel.
Yeah, I saw a few comments on Twitter.
It's just Twitter, isn't it?
I know. I didn't say anything, but it's just interesting seeing the public opinion.
Wrestling Twitter is just a cesspit.
Yeah,
it really is. I mean, but yeah,
yeah, it is though.
It did a very good job, and Tony looked like a legit contender for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens now, because obviously Ilya is not going main roster, as some people may have predicted, because he loses the title here, leaves NXT, goes on to feud with Gunther or Imperium or join Imperium or whatever. So yeah, he's hanging on NXT for a bit. So is Tony, and Tony's gonna be doing something else now, I assume. So we move on now to the main event. Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. I want to get your thoughts on this before I say mine. So obviously, Trick wins with a Trick knee. I'll say that much.
Yeah. The promo package for this match was so good. It might have been one of my favourites from this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I don't... Okay. The match felt a tiny bit rushed.
Yeah.
I don't quite... Maybe, I built it too much in my head. Or maybe it was built way too much in them saying that it's the biggest match in NXT history. I think it was very predictable, a bit rushed, still very good, but not as good as it was supposed to be. Yeah. And that's unfortunate. The hype around it was really up there, and obviously, Melo's probably going to go into the main roster now. and Trick's gonna head for Ilya. But I wanted that match, and maybe that's a bit on me, that I wanted it to be that good. Not what I was expecting. Still a good match, but yeah, it should have been match of the night, but just wasn't.
Yeah. So yeah, I've got a few thoughts on this as well. I agree with what you said, absolutely. Good match, felt rushed, predictable. So I rated it 3.5 stars. Firstly, that's not a slight on anything. That's just the rating of the match itself. It showed me how good Carmelo is, and that I may have been blinded before by love for Trick, because Trick did not shine here. This was Carmelo carrying Trick to a 3.5 star match, and if he's going now SmackDown, I'm genuinely worried about Trick being the front guy. He had a good match with Ilya, but again, who wouldn't have a good match with Ilya? Like, I don't know. Like, he fought Noam Dar before, but again, Noam Dar is really good. So who would have a good match with Noam Dar? It's like, you put him in a ring with like Von Wagner or something like that, you probably really reveal how good Trick is. Like,
yeah,
it's such a sad case now, because I'll get into the match itself, because it sounds like I'm just really picking on Trick here. This match felt like firstly, it wasn't as strong as I was hoping it would be. It felt like two guys fighting for the sake of fighting, because they were booked to face each other. This didn't feel like the grudge match it was supposed to be. It didn't feel like two brothers who've fallen out. You know, this didn't feel intense. It felt like a guy fighting another guy. It was a good match. It was just underwhelming. There was no real emotion in this, other than wanting to win. There was no, like, Carmelo wants to injure Trick. There was no Carmelo wants to really hurt Trick. There was no Trick wants his comeuppance. Trick wants to really hurt Carmelo because of the actions that Carmelo did. Like, there was none of that. There were, like, I don't know. Neither of those goals came across to me. Neither, like, Trick's redemption didn't come across. Carmelo's hatred, or I guess I just put it well, actually, hatred for Trick didn't come through. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, this is a very but maybe it's like you said, they spent so long building this match up that we built up in our heads at the same time as to how good this match can be, that it just sort of fell flat.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was a good match. It's Carmelo Hayes again, who could have a bad match with Carmelo Hayes. It's just I ain't got words for it. I'm let down by this main event.
Yeah, it was slightly disappointing. Also, the finish came out of nowhere. It felt like as well.
Yeah.
Like, there's no, like, there wasn't really any false finishes either. Like, these type of matches are typically false finish heavy, which, you know, in a way I'm kind of glad it wasn't, because I'm not the biggest fan of a false finish. But sometimes they need it, and yeah, they fought in the crowd for a little bit. The referee got knocked down a couple of times.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was no real big redemption for Trick.
Yeah, it just felt like a match. It was just a match.
Like, the ring announcing for it wasn't main event level either. It wasn't. They didn't go, this is the main event of this podcast. This main event scheduled for 1-4. It wasn't like no in-ring introductions. It was on the way to the ring. They gave him the introduction, and it didn't feel like that. You know, this is supposed to be the biggest standard deliverer of all time, and the main event didn't quite land, and that's really unfortunate.
Yeah, because the main event is meant to be this feud between two guys who are like unofficially like brothers, who stood by each other thick and thin, like for years. Like Trick was Carmelo's hype man for however long. He finally came out of his own shell, became North American champion, etc. Like he's had this build. He's had this amazing build to the point where he could conceivably be at Carmelo's level, and Carmelo obviously doesn't see it that way and has to put Trick in his place. Right? The story is right there. Like it's a broken friendship. It's a betrayal. And again, it didn't come across in the match. Like both these guys should be trying to kill each other. Like not literally, obviously, but like they should be, really going at each other. They should be fighting, weapons, fucking tables, everything. Like they should be, like I think back to like, they're not even grudge matches, but like matches in the past in NXT when it was like yellow and gold. Black and gold, sorry. Like Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano and Ciampa. Yeah, I think back to matches like that where actually Gargano and Ciampa is actually a good example of that. Of a grudge match that felt like a grudge match.
Yeah.
Like, because again, those were tag partners that have been friends for like probably over a decade at that point. Like, and then have that friendship sort of broken, that friendship betrayed, and then they had that amazing street fight and the other match they had as well in NXT, like amazing stuff they had, and involving Candice in that as well was a class touch as well. Like, but this wasn't that. This was like the modern day Gargano Ciampa.
Yeah,
and it's like we've said. It fell flat. It wasn't as good as we thought it would be, and the North American title should have been the main event.
You just didn't feel like they hated each other enough.
Exactly.
Anyway, it's still a very, very strong pay-per-view.
Yeah,
PLE,
absolutely.
whatever you want to call it. It was just bangers.
Yeah,
and that's what you want from a show.
Exactly. Ironically enough, the world title, which probably should have been in the main event, would have been a better main event.
Yeah.
That's just my call on it. I don't know if you agree. I think the match is better than Trick and Carmelo.
No, I'm with you. Like, and it's daft because for the past few weeks we've been saying how Tony and Ilya didn't feel like a main event match, and turns out it probably should have been the main event.
Yeah.
I feel like Trick and Melo should have opened. Yeah.
And I feel like they probably should have done what they did at WrestleMania 30. Because with the benefit of hindsight, they both want the world title. So if they can't have a grudge match for whatever reason, or make it a street fight, make it stipulated.
Yeah, do something where it shows that they really despise each other.
Yeah, but do something where they can't escape. Like a steel cage, or Hell in a Cell, or maybe not Hell in a Cell because that's just ridiculous for NXT. But that steel cage, like I said, street fight, no holds barred. There's something when the heel can be a heel, like But
we move.
Sorry, I'm just lamenting in my own head about how sort of let down I am about that main event. But I was saying, WrestleMania 30, but they should have done something like that. Like both of them want the world title.
Yeah.
The winner of that match opens, so they open up with that match. The winner of that goes to the main event, and it's a dual threat between Tony, Ilya, and Carmelo or Trick.
Yeah.
And if Trick won that match, you can have Carmelo cost Trick in the main event because Carmelo doesn't feel that Trick is worthy of that match. It should be Carmelo in that match. Like it, I don't know. I feel like there's more you could have done, but obviously that's hindsight.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, hindsight's the wonderful thing.
yeah. But yeah, that was the review. Unless you have anything else you want to add?
No, other than it was a nice. I'm interested to see what comes next for the people on this show.
Yes, absolutely.
A lot of things ended, and new things have to begin.
Yeah.
TV should be interesting for next few weeks.
Well, frankly, we've got a few things on the back burner already, like Ridge Holland and Joe Gacy.
Yippee!
And Lexington King and Von Wagner.
Oh dear. This could be either a really good couple of weeks to watch or difficult watches.
Yeah.
But we'll soon see.
Yeah, I think it was somewhere in the middle. It usually is with NXT.
Yeah.
But yes, that brings an end to the HCW Show Squared. As always, please give us a like on the videos, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment saying whether you agree or disagree, because it's always good to get your comments and your thoughts, in the videos and just in general, because it's always interesting to see if you agree or disagree. Outside of that, of course, we have our social media here beneath me, which over here we go. We have our Instagram, our Facebook, our Twitter or X, and our Twitch. That's right, I did say the one I didn't say the last time. But as always, please follow on as you feel so. And if you feel so inclined, please give Craig and myself a follow. Craig's Twitter is just there underneath his camera. And mine is just the breezy, as it says there. So, yeah, with that all done, I've plugged what I need to plug. And that is it. And we'll see you next week for more regular NXT.
Bye, friends.
Peace.